But yeah, it was brilliant talk. Oh, it was amazing actually.
I didn't tell everybody because it was so quick. And then I realized I didn't tell everybody yet. Everybody, not everything. I didn't manage to say everything that I wanted because when you are the start with the technical stuff, then you're out of the plan.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what's happening.
Bless you. No, I need to. I do need to. I thought when I come over to the house, I'll make sure that I put that as my priority because I started watching it and I just thought it's going to use all my data up. So I need to. But talking to Sonia, the Infinity Healing, she said that so the Infinity Sonia Evans is the lady who's my mentor for the Infinity Healing. So I've got 6 months support, and so we have half an hour of an hour of the consultation that we can have with her. So I just thought I need to do it straight away so that I can crack on with what I'm meant to do. So they've got a group that is Infinity Healing group, Facebook group, and um, basically we can post our things up on that site. So I was trying to establish with her if it was what was going to be okay for me to do in terms of putting the site up. So because one of the things that there's just so much. So what she said was, there's two things I want to look at. What she said was that they probably want to partner with us or partner with me to do the game. And I've said to her, I'll send her a game and the book for her to have a look at. But she said that it's going to need, it sounds like, she's an amazing lady, actually. I wouldn't know how to describe her. She's very much on the twin flame lines. She's a twin flame. And so she started out her work doing lots of YouTube videos. So what she's doing is teaching people how to build a spiritual business online. So everything that I'm learning from that, I'm bringing into the community. So it's all part of it. So even though we might think, oh my gosh, we're not really doing anything, we're doing massive. Because if I'm able to do it, then we're all in. It's as simple as. So if I'm in there, it's like, come on, we're all in. So don't think that it's just when I'm saying I'm including we. It's all of us. So what she said was that tackling healing the inner child is massive. And so I don't know if, just to reiterate, what I'm doing is the journey of innocence, which is 21 chapters of my life, the first 21 chapters. So it's like to tell your story, really. So it's to tell your story, but it's just from a different angle. It's just more specific in terms of a niche in child trauma. So the intention is to be putting out some audio. So I'm going to be recording. So I have been recording each of the 21 chapters in audio and then including what's it called? An Infinity Healing. So what I might do in fact, what we might do is, if I can do it, is to share the audio as an Infinity Healing tonight, if that would work for us all. Because it's all about childhood and it's all about trauma, but it'd be nice to actually be part of the sharing of it. So basically, yeah, if I can try and find it, I'm trying to upload the audio, not onto video, but onto audio. So that's how I found out that my website wasn't working. So I'm just thinking how I can do it to share the screen with you. So we can do it because we can do it through the shared computer sound. Yeah, so I should be able to do it. So yeah, we'll do that after I've just finished explaining this, and that'll be really good. So what she said was that she was impressed, she was excited, and she felt it completely from the heart. She felt that it was in alignment. She said about 90% of the work is she finds 90%. So again, this is relevant to us. 90% of the work that she does as a healer, that's her specialism, she finds that it relates back to traumatic childhoods. So what that means is that when we're talking to people about tell your story, there'll be a lot of people that are frightened to come forward because they've kept that childhood memory inside and they don't want to tell the story. They don't want to stand up out there. So it's all leading back to people telling the story and releasing in order to be able to fully heal. So it's massive work that we're doing. So, you'll know that, but when we see people that are out there marketing, as an example, and they are forcing themselves to be confident, trying to force themselves to be confident that it's not coming naturally. Because reality is, it doesn't matter. You know, like when I know that sometimes we have to undo what we've been taught. Sometimes we have to just let go. Sometimes we have to laugh. You know, I remember going into a cafe in Scotland, and I can't remember which area it was. And I was with the children, and it was clear that they weren't really, you know, used to people of my colour. You could see that was really obvious. So we walked into the cafe, and it just went deadly silent. It was just like you couldn't hear a pin drop. And we walked in, and I was thinking, and it's such a funny feeling when that happens, but it happens regularly. And I realised, I thought, okay, here we are again. So we sat down, and I remember the children giggling. And they would have been about 3 and 5 at the time. And they were giggling. And it was getting louder and louder and louder. And I remember thinking, shh, don't be bringing attention to ourselves. But we'd already brought attention just by walking into the place. And I remember thinking about it and going through that sentence in my head. And in the end, we just burst out, just belly laughing, because it was just really, really strange. But that whole thing of sometimes we do things because it's what we're taught to do. And what we were taught to do was, you know, to stay quiet and not to be seen. But the reality is we were seen. And instead of like, you know, silence was something like children should be seen and not heard. So that was a real strong thing that happened in our lives. That was something that we did. You know, we just had to stay quiet everywhere. So it's like, hold on a minute, I just heard the children laughing and just thinking, it's children laughing. How can you be telling them to be quiet because of what society's said, of be seen and not heard, you know? So sometimes you have to really question some of the ludicrous things that are so ingrained in us that we have to catch ourselves out, you know, and in a way, telling your story helps to do that. It helps us to voice things that we've just been told to keep quiet about, you know. So it's a freeing process. Just I can see heads nodding, but it's true, isn't it? It makes so much sense, doesn't it? You know. But I know that a lot of people are frightened to speak out. They're frightened. They're not used to having their voices heard at all, you know. Feel free to jump in whenever you want to, because I know I can. There's laws that I've got to say, you know.
Yeah, well, I just want to say that I resonate a lot with that, and I think it's not, in a way, when I look back at my childhood, it's not huge trauma. Nobody would say it's traumatic, but I think that always being told to keep quiet. The adults are talking, keep quiet. You know, that's the way of raising. That was the way everybody raised the children at that time. You have to be quiet.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So,
isn't it?
yeah, that's how children should be. And I could see when I started raising my children, in the beginning, I took those things that I was taught as a child. And, well, I changed that little by little. But it took a while before I understood what my values were and the things that has affected me in my childhood. And these things, well, through telling my story here, I have realized that these things have affected me a lot in my self-confidence. Yeah. So telling my story here, I feel a lot more confident. I'm not afraid to get out and what people are going to say about me. But I know I've had a lot of resistance going out telling people what I really believe.
Yeah, and that takes a long time.
Be quiet.
Yeah. It takes a long, exactly, because it takes a long time. Because it's when do we ever sit down and have discussions about what our beliefs are, about what our values are. We don't often, you know, it's like our circle of friends are often very specific circles of friends, you know, that accept us for a certain level of conversation. As soon as you start bringing in a different conversation, it's like, oh, hold on a minute, I'm not sure about that. So there is a lot of insecurity around what kind of conversations do we have. And do you know, and it's interesting because I think it's only when we sit and have conversations like this now and talk about this stuff that it reminds me of this road, of this journey that we're on, is a very isolating. You can be quite on your own. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how many people have got friends that they're able to fully have open conversations with around anything. Just that whole, like, just a completely accepted, unconditional love relationship. I don't know. I don't have those kinds of. No, it's interesting, isn't it?
Funny enough, that came up when I was in a conversation this afternoon with my sister-in-law about the stuff I was talking about earlier on about what's been going on. She said, you know, have you got anybody you can go and talk to and just let it all out there? And I said, well, no, I don't really. And part of that is that a recognition that once you say something, you can't unsay it. So no matter how, even if you can create that really safe space, for instance, where you could say things and it doesn't leave that space in a sense, nevertheless, the people who are there and hear it, it's with them then, and they carry it with them wherever they go, because you can't unsay something once you said it. And even if you preface it with, look, I'm just letting it all out now, I'll probably feel different tomorrow, I just need to get this off my chest. I think it's a really amazing person who can hear that and then completely let it go and not take it with them, or not have it somehow bring that to their next conversation or interaction with you, or let it colour their perception of you because you've said that thing.
And I think
that's really hard
it's an interesting one, because what you're saying, Catherine, it's interesting because it's all part of the art of communication, I think. And it's an interesting, because I think when we understand that our conversations are actually not about the other person, that when we're listening to somebody's story, we're actually not interested. This, and I'm saying this really bluntly, and it's not that we're not interested. Of course we're interested. But what we're listening to, the way that we're hearing somebody's story, because it's that difference between listening and hearing. We've not been taught how to hear. When we hear somebody's story, it goes into a different place. So when you're speaking as an example and I'm hearing you, what I'm hearing are triggers of my stories that are coming up here. So even though you're saying what you're saying, I'm not going to be judging you because you're speaking and speaking your truth. Fantastic. But I don't carry with me your story. What I carry is the triggers that you trigger. Your words would trigger something in me that would help me to remember, but it's a remembrance of my own journey. So I think once we can understand that, and once we can translate that as a team of people, I think it's going to make it easier for people to share, to realize that actually our job is to trigger, our job is to share our story with each other. So we can trigger, so I'm hoping that I say something that can trigger something in you that might trigger anger. That's brilliant, because it's coming from you, not from me. But something that I say might trigger that. So if you're sharing words with me about your experience and that triggers something in me, that's a gift that you've given me that I've accepted from you. You know, so it's sometimes we fear speaking because of where it's going to go. It's not going where we think it's going to go. Do you know what I mean? It's not kind of like, oh my gosh, you're not going to believe what happens. It's not that kind of the art of communication, just not on that level. It's kind of, do you know what? It's a space, release it's ours is what I always say. Do you know, it's just release it, because there's no point in dwelling on, because it's not as bad as you think. It's when it's in here and it's dwelling. So when you release it and dare, it's like, what's the worst that can happen from information that we share? That it releases somebody, that somebody finds it of interest, that triggers something in them, you know. But I understand, but I think our communication has been, I mean, as a social worker in my past life, this whole thing around confidentiality was a very similar kind of discussion that I would have, you know, with kind of, and I'd be thinking, hold on a minute, and some people would take it to another level. They'd be like, no, I can't discuss anything. And it's like, no, if something's had an impact on me, I give myself permission to talk about it. Not a piece of paper telling me confidentiality. I'm not talking about that person. I'm talking about the impact that that's had on me. And that's a difference, because I'm not talking, that's confidential, is to keep somebody in a place of anonymity, as far as I'm concerned. But it was taken to another degree, and that's what causes illness. It's as simple as you've got to be able to release the impact that something's had. A lady was really adamant with me about, no, I can't discuss my work. But it was like, actually, it's really clear that you need to, because it's screwing you up. You know, well, you it's kind of like when you're in a profession, like even in nursing, and you're seeing, again, this trauma, you're seeing traumatic experiences of people, you're witnessing people dying. How can you never want to discuss that? That's not healthy. You know, so what we're really trying to encourage here is to communicate, but to communicate by recognizing that you are owning. So if I have a conversation and I'm sharing my heart, I don't mind sharing my heart with the community, because for me, there's strength in vulnerability, there's strength in authenticity, and it's important to share that. It doesn't matter where it goes. Does it matter where it goes? No, because if it triggers somebody to release something in them, it's fantastic. You're impacting, the ripple effects are impacting people. But yeah, I think for somebody to use it as a weapon is like, well, is it really a weapon that somebody's using it as? Depends on how you view it, I suppose, really. But I think releasing, it's important to release what's going on for you, for all of us to do that, because it can benefit each and every single one. It's authenticity. We're allowed to, 2019, we're allowed to be authentic and speak our truth and have a rant and just say it how it is. And people love that, because people love drama, don't they? They love story. People do love, as we said, Coronation Street, EastEnders. You know, it's like people love stories, but these are real stories. That's the difference, is the real stories. They're not make believe. They're not pretend. But no, it's important. Definitely, it's definitely important to share. So this lady was saying that she believes it's a movement. She said that this is the time that it's the three energies at this moment in time. The three energies are teamwork and tribes and attracting alignment. So we're in those times to be able to do that, to pull in team members to help us to promote this work. And it's interesting, because she said she knows about people energy healing and spiritual growth, she said, but she sees this work that I'm doing as universal. It's a universal process, which is brilliant, because at the moment the spiritual world is having a massive attack on it. It's massive. And I've always been hesitant about the word spiritual, because I think it's still got connotations of religion in many ways. I don't know if anybody knows Doreen Virtue. Have you heard of Doreen Virtue? Yeah. And she's come out, she does a lot of angel cards. She used to. She's now a Christian. She's given it all away. Well, she's now gone to the side of Christianity, and she's poo-pooing. And even there was an article out this week. I haven't seen it. It was somebody I didn't even know what was going on sort of the last couple of weeks. She's actually talking about a lot of work and calling it the devil's work, and calling it, not just stay away, it's really bad. Even things like empowerment shouldn't be, which I just find it hilarious. She's got this A to Z, and empowerment apparently is on one of those, is on the list. But anything that we're doing here is basically on that list. So it's really important for us not to align ourselves to things like the spiritual community, because even though it's on that level, we're actually higher. I'm not saying higher than that, but it doesn't have a name, what we're doing. It just is. It's where we've come from. It's just part of what we're here to do. And so therefore, the whole concept around universal really resonates with me, because it's a gift back to humanity. So just to put that in there, just for us to kind of like be thinking about. She's saying it's a perfect time. This work that we're doing now is a perfect time in terms of our act of service. And what else did she say? That there's going to be a tribe people are coming, they're ready. She was being guided from God's source universe, that there are people on the way, so our efforts aren't going unheard. There's a tribe on its way. And she also said, she said the vision that you have, she said it's like it's a company. She said it's like a pyramid. I can see like this pyramid. I just thought, right, pursuit of happiness. She said it's like the top of the pyramid. She said I can see it separated in different divisions. She said it's like a company that's got like a retreat, it's got games, it's got books, and it's even got a TV show. That's all. A TV show around consciousness. But I wanted a good news channel of different people reporting around the world, good news of whatever that is. So it's all coming into alignment. So it's all good. So the more that we can find our skies, then the more that we can turn them into stars. She also said that she's wanting to build a retreat in Mount Shasta, which is massive, massive, powerful healing energies, and cultivating a community. And she feels that this work that we're doing here is part of that retreat in Mount Shasta. It's like, oh my gosh. So it's all good. It's all good on those levels. So she's encouraging me to promote the work in the community, which is like-minded people. So it's the health, energy healing, but also as well, the chap who did the training, Tariq Bibi, he is very involved in the Tele Summit, which has got a massive network of people that are all like-minded people. So I think we're just about to align a bit closer. I just wanted that conversation with her so that she could plant those seeds. So I'm going to try and get, once, probably after the retreat, I might have to try and get the game to her. I'd have to try and see how many games we've got, because I do want the games to be here for the retreat. But she said she actually, her and a partner was looking and planning in the past to develop a board game. So, you know, she's even as I described it to her, she said, oh, it sounds like the board game Transformation. So there's a board game called Transformation, she said, but it takes days to play, whereas this is Empowering an Hour, and it's got transformation along the side of it. So it's just going to be amazing. So I'm excited about that for all of us, because it's just going to be, like I said, she's just impressed with the vision, and really feels that this connection of other people, she said, those people are going to be bringing in their expertise, so that it's going to be that you're not going to be burnt out, that it is about little pieces, each person taking little pieces of what they're able to do, so that you can stay in your highest joy, which I was really impressed with. I was like, yeah, I'd like to stay in my highest joy, please. So that's just to let you know what's going on there. So that's exciting news for us as a team. Like I said, the Journey of Innocence is going to be 21 chapters, so I'm going to try and see if I can find it now so we can play the audio. So any other, I've uploaded the launches so you can see the launches. We are going to be, Cassia is stepping up into leadership, but we will juggle and work out when. There's a couple of people, they haven't made a commitment because I haven't forced them to make a commitment. And I don't mean force them, they're just writing. So I'm just saying to people at the moment, just write your chapters, and then let's organise where we can come on, where we can maximise the time, really, so that there's more than one or two people that are on there. But I know that there's a couple of people in the community that haven't completed the stories yet, like Crystal in America. But again, her timing's not always brilliant. But there are a couple of other people that are wanting to start the process, and have started the process. So we'll just play it by ear, Cassia. It's just, we're just keeping on chipping away, because I know that there's going to be a massive influx of people, and I just think we're ready. I think we're ready to begin holding that space. And I don't know how we're going to do it, because everybody's more or less ready, in terms of, because Gerald's obviously stepped out for a little bit. We're still doing the Australian at 10 o'clock. We're meeting after this call. So Mary's starting over there. Once Mary has gone through the process, she's free to hold the space, which makes it that little bit easier, you know, because I am limited in terms of time, but I need to shadow everybody who's going through. So we're really just going to be playing it by ear. I've spoken to a few people this week, but I just feel like we're being prepared for something that's not yet appeared. That's what it feels like. It doesn't feel like it's the same as it was at all in April. I think we're doing some We're doing some, what's the word? I've talked about it to Cassia. We're doing some bigger, we're hitting some bigger networks, really. We're wanting people who are stepping up into leadership. So one of the things that I've been saying, and I've not typed it up, I should have taken a picture of it, really, should I? How can I do that? I could take it on the phone, couldn't I? So what I've been doing is putting together some packet. Well, not putting together. The packages are ready. So we've got 4 packages. Starting from the 126. And the phone's not working. 126. So it's gone up £6. So it rhymes in with the number 9 of the packages. So we've got 126. In fact, I'm just trying to think if we can right up to a 5,000 package. And so we've got, what I'm going to try and do is type, well, I'm not going to try and do, this is what I meant to do, but I haven't done it. So basically we've got Tell Your Story blueprint per person is 126. We'll do the healing on after the next click off. Oh gosh, I just wish I could show you this, but the phone's not working. So we've got the 126 Tell Your Story, and then we've got the co-creator package. And the co-creator package should be 3,000, in the regions of 3,000, but it's going to be 1,000. So we've got a special offer. So we were discussing that last week with Cassia, and you might see that on the sign. Let me just share the screen with you. So what we did was the presentation. Hey, honestly, there's just, right, let's see if I can I do that through there? But it won't show it, will it? So I haven't typed these up. Can you see the screen on there, the 3-month home study?
Yes.
Brilliant. So all I needed to do, so I'm going to be putting this up, and this will be on the Empowering Angel page that you can easily signpost people to. Again, what I'm encouraging each person to do is the information that's going out now, I'd encourage you to, even if it's doing a review and posting it up on your Facebook or wherever you want to post it, just to do a review, even if it's just putting the video up there, or if it's reviewing this information, just encouraging people to spread the word, just practicing, just sharing their review of the information that they're seeing. That's coming through really, really strongly. So what we've got is become a partner with Tell Your Story community. And one of the things that I wanted, and I said last week, so it's basically helping people to see it's a 3-month home study course. And I think that just gives clarity of like, all right, home study. Because I don't think people realise that that's what we're doing. We're in our homes and we are telling our story. So we're studying ourselves. So it just puts it into that education bracket, really, so that people feel comfortable with it. And so this is basically what each co-creator has been part of, even though it's taken them as longer than 3 months, but it's still putting it into a package. And obviously at the end of it, people become an author and co-creator because they're going through the Tell Your Story blueprint. So it's going from Tell Your Story into the co-creator. So it's still the same process. And then one of the things, I've not fully finished this part, and there's going to be some that I'm going to take out, but it's a cleansing and clearing process, because that's what we're doing. So we've got 10 minutes left on this, and then when we come back, we'll do the infinity healing. So it's a cleansing and clearing process. It's healing the emotional wounds and scars. It's boosting confidence. It's increasing emotional intelligence. It's the boosting heart consciousness. It's connecting with voice and truth. It's delving into intuitive guidance with confidence, deepening your sense of identity, increasing your network of soulmates, creating community local and global, connecting with others at real levels of depth, decluttering the mind, the body and emotional baggage, severing cores that no longer serve us. And then that's authentic living and liberating. So I'm going to take that out, toxicity, because even though that's what it is, I'm just mindful, authentic living, liberating. Oh yeah, we can leave those in. So that's just an additional bit to what we had when I put together the broadcast for the launch. So I'm just going to tidy that up, and then that's ready to go. So I'm going to be doing a video on that, just doing that as a presentation, and then uploading it into the Empowering Angels. Is there anything else that anybody thinks that needs to be added onto there? In fact, there is something else that needs to be added on there, actually, which I might need to take some of the others out. So that's just a reminder for me to add that in. Just exchanging this doing for being. But I want to put that in slightly different. Okay, yeah. Anything else? Because one of the things that it's like actually the learning how to exchange time for money. I think that's going to be the next big curve of learning, purely because the more that we increase the numbers of people telling the story, the more people will start changing their financial imbalance. How they can exchange that time from doing to being, because when people change that doing to being, it's going to affect them financially. That's the bit that we're in. That's where we are. Even though we haven't done it, that's where we are, because each person, as we know, that comes through the process, the money's there. Each person who pays for the process, the money's there, so it's going to be going to somebody. So in terms of learning how to exchange time for money, that's going to be very real to many of us. All we're needing is the numbers of people regularly coming through on a regular basis. So we just need those different places of, we just need a platform. And so I think what I've been sharing tonight about Sonia is she has that platform. She has a platform where there are people that are looking for what we're doing. There's lots of people out there looking for what we're doing. It's just that we're not out there. That's all. But we are getting out there. So hopefully that just gives you a little bit more confidence to know it's about to start stepping up. So that's the benefits really of telling your story. And I think really that came about, if you remember, Cassie, we had a meeting with Agnes last week, and she was asking for this. She was asking for, well, what's the benefits of the Tell Your Story and the game? Because again, another lady who has got a huge network of people, and she wanted to know, what is it all about? So again, I think, Cassie, do you want to share about how that came about? Because you're part of a business network and you're not necessarily asking people to tell the story. You're doing something else. And I know we talked about it in the last video, but do you want to just summarize that? Because that was brilliant with Agnes, what happened during the week.
Yes, what I'm telling is, of course, this is not for everybody. Even we know everybody needs that, but not everybody will be joining straight away. As we said, lots of people still hiding lots of things, and they think they are not ready or they don't have the story. So when I speak with people, like today, I was speaking about different project, and the person that I had a meeting, he was saying what you're doing, what's your passion, what you're doing when you're not working, blah blah blah. So I said that one of this project is, I call this very general personal development because this is the big group. And I said I can send you the link just to tell you, if you want to speak authentic with people, because he's speaking one-to-one, he's not doing this online. He has normal business. I said, to being authentic, you just need to be unblock everything, and that's the fact. That's the fact, because everybody has their own things came from childhood, past experience, whatever. Everybody has. And I told him that when I was writing this story, I said it was first, of course, I was busy, but I said to the end, my mom passed away, so that was really dramatic. But because I was to the end of this project, I'm okay, and everything is okay. Even there is lots of things happen after, still everything is fine. And if I had this, without this project, I don't know what would be the consequences. So how important it is to join something that is coming to our life, instead of thinking it will be next year, it will be another month because I'm busy. We all are busy. Like I was busy all week, and I still have emails to sort out for over weekend because physically I had to stop. But the things that are connected to us needs to be done daily. This is the habits that there are things that we are moving, like finish the videos or something like that, but being aware what's happening in our body, in our mind, and everything. So the biggest two groups that I'm targeting are people who are working online or thinking that they are doing something online to work online, and they don't know what they are doing. That's why I wanted to speak with Agnes, because she has the group. She's helping people with the strategy, with how they can actually start it or be more organized with online business. She has experiences 2013, so it's much more longer than me and everybody here. Plus, when she was speaking with us, she said that she was, I don't know if she was writing the book or somebody was writing the book. So she was thinking as well to writing the book, but for everybody, I think this is big, how you can write the book, blah, blah, blah. So first is to unblock everybody who try to do something online because they don't know how to create the authentic message. And the next group is the people who are very low confidence and they just feel that this is time to change something. So what we just said, release everything, heal the past, and just create the future that they really can just dream about. Because it's simple, we just make it difficult. And that's all. But I go through my friends, and the girl that was actually, she already submitted her email. I contact her, Silvana, and she was during this interview. So I remind her to check the videos as she already added email, because she would be actually the perfect person because she has her own very specific already business. So this type of people we're looking for, but I'm not looking for just people with business. This is just people who are ready to do something.
Absolutely.
That's all.
Yeah, and you're coming just under a minute, just so that you, just in case you cut off. It's so true. I've just got my things lined up, so we're all ready. It's so true. We're coming from so many different angles, and there are so many people that are out there that don't even realise that what this is in terms of that authenticity. I love the authentic message, unblocking, and certainly in terms of creating a future. It's fantastic. All good. Thank you, Cassia. I'm going to be putting together the packages, and I'm just going to be emailing them during the week. So keep an eye on your email box just for feedback or to add some extra stuff on there. But it'll just give you an overview of the packages that we're able to offer and how they're going to benefit each and every single one of us.